Thanks for the heads up. Only wasted 2 sentences. All right. I said something like, appreciate the likes and subscribes and all that. I'm going to go through my regular rundown here, technical analysis, and then look at some Trader Pro alert examples from a bear perspective as well. And then I will take some coin requests, and then I'll answer any questions, and we'll take it from there. All right. So the NASDAQ, there's been plenty of examples where Bitcoin has been leading the broader market. And another example just happened where Bitcoin started hourly consolidation before QQQ. And I use the NASDAQ futures chart, NAS 100 USD, as a gauge as well. But Bitcoin started the hourly consolidation first. Now the NASDAQ is seeing hourly consolidation. So I watch them both interchangeably. Sometimes the broader market leads Bitcoin. Sometimes Bitcoin is leading the broader market. Bitcoin has led the broader market enough that I'm always watching one for clues about the other. And again, I know a lot of people say it's a non-correlated asset. It's going to replace the dollar. It's yada, yada. Whatever you think Bitcoin is, it's an opinion. The only thing that matters is price. And as long as the price is correlated to the NASDAQ, it is a significantly correlated instrument. It won't always be the case. That will change. It'll go through periods where it does its own thing and then it correlates back up again and then it does its own thing. But for now, it is extremely correlated and we just have to accept that. And you will be a better trader if you accept the reality as opposed to accepting what your opinion or what your hopes and dreams are. It's a correlated asset with the broader market right now. So the NASDAQ, we're looking at a daily inside bar currently. And we're trying to see a weekly higher low shape up. We only have one more trading day left in the week because Friday is a holiday in the stock market. So tomorrow's going to be important. Number one, if we form a daily inside bar today, breaking that daily inside bar bullish tomorrow would give us a long lower wick on this weekly candle. And the probability that our weekly higher low has been set would increase a good bit. And of course, if the inside bar breaks bearish, the bears keep their complete control and there would be no short-term hope for the bulls at that point. So it's a pretty important hourly. Let's first look at the 4-hour. So the 4-hour had a tightening range on the NASDAQ here. This was our CPI reaction yesterday, inflation numbers. We dropped down and broke to a lower low at the end of the day, lower high overnight, held support this morning, bull break, but we're still watching the high of the CPI reaction as the level that needs to break to get the daily bounce going and to try and shape up this weekly higher low. If we're looking at it from the hourly perspective, we are shaping up. Again, I look at QQQ during regular trading hours, and we're shaping up hourly consolidation potentially underway here. Anything under the high of yesterday is just an hourly lower high. So I'm viewing it as a high, low, lower high. Have to confirm an hourly trend change. Long story short, you want to keep it simple. We got to break the high of the CPI reaction from yesterday morning, which for QQQ is 347.83. And for the NASDAQ futures chart, it's 14,287. And again, these are roughly the same thing. One of them is an ETF, and one of them is the futures chart that trades more hours overnight. But if you're in the crypto world, you want to be watching the NASDAQ 100 USD futures chart. So that's the key level. Bitcoin has a daily bounce already underway. The NASDAQ does not. So Bitcoin's daily bounce now, the question is this a daily bear flag? That's the question that we want to have answered. And what do we watch to help us answer that? We watch the retracement size on this bounce. There's a number of places we can measure from. If we're measuring from, let's put on our magnet here. If we're measuring from the last little lower high, this bounce is already a 50% retracement. But if we zoom out a little bit and go to the 2-day time frame, this retracement is way less significant. So I'm going to be viewing it from the daily time frame and saying that as long as daily EMA 12 is resistance, then the bulls still have proving to do. And if we're going to be confident that a weekly higher low is being set in Bitcoin, we have to see a big enough daily bounce to create the space to confirm a daily trend change. So that has to shape up and we need more space. This is not enough space to try and change a daily trend. We need another leg up. Then if we reject from daily EMA 12, okay, let's form the higher low and try for that trend change from there. So it's a nice little short-term bull break. Bulls will take it, absolutely. Hourly bull flag here would be a really good sign, in my opinion, if it confirms. Because we just had a 4-hour equilibrium break bull. And if that's your top of the move and then you give it back, red flag. But if that move then follows through with hourly continuation, then it's a bit more believable. So this hourly bull flag that is currently forming on Bitcoin, bulls really want to see it confirm to keep chugging along towards daily EMA 12 resistance. So we'll get that answer within the next few hours here. And the NASDAQ is bouncing nicely right now. So NASDAQ staying healthy. Could be a 15-minute head and shoulders, but keeping an eye. So Bitcoin bulls need to get over 41.4 thousand. So when we last checked in last video, what was that? What's today? Wednesday? So Monday, we talked about why is the super stack alert on the 4-hour time frame not firing for Bitcoin yet. And it was because at that point, as I described, the super stack alert on our Trader Pro system is when oversold timeframes align on the 4-hour, the hourly, the 15-minute, the 5-minute, and the short-term timeframes were not aligning as oversold. After that video, that changed, and the 4-hour super stack fired right under 40,000. We traded sideways, and now the bull break has taken place. So we're going to see if this super stack on the 4-hour time frame, it's certainly enough to be positioned low risk or risk-free if acting on that signal. Now that we've bounced 2.5% from that point. But we'll keep an eye as to whether or not that marks a more significant higher low. Ideally, that marks our weekly higher low. But a lot of proving still to be done. So another thing with the alert system, I always am describing these bounce trades because I love trading bounces and it's one of my edges, and that's the direction that I'm always looking when I'm trading crypto. But the alert system here can be utilized for bearish entries. So backburners, we know oversold backburners are after a big bull move, first oversold conditions. You can use that in the opposite direction. After a big bear move, overbought conditions on shorter term timeframes can mark lower highs on longer term timeframes. So looking at Bitcoin just as an example, these are the 15-minute, well, these 15-minute super stacks are giving nice indications of short-term consolidation. But if we look at the 15-minute backburner, so this signal right here is showing 15-minute RSI hitting overbought conditions in an environment where bears have control. So on that bounce, we were scouting a 4-hour lower high. We had 4-hour EMA 12 resistance coming into the picture, and we had 15-minute RSI getting overextended. So that is a way that a bear uses the alert system as well. A bear is looking for short-term overbought conditions to give indication on entries for bearish positions for bigger picture lower highs. So in this instance, 15-minute overbought marked our 4-hour lower high, and we pulled back a good bit from there. So again, I use it for bounces, but utilize it from a bear perspective. If you are trading crypto bearish, and another one that we would be looking for here, if we're looking for a Bitcoin daily lower high, let's see if hourly RSI gets overbought. Hourly RSI right now on Bitcoin, it's close. So just under overbought. If this bull flag confirms, we're likely going to see hourly RSI get overbought. So again, just another way to utilize these alerts. And if you have not done so yet, check out the free trial. And I'll drop the link. Check it out. And I've got an ebook coming out on backburners. I didn't make it, but someone smart on our team made an ebook about backburners that we'll put out on Monday. So check our Twitter on Monday. There'll be an ebook about backburners. A nice example for the bears to utilize. So the dominance chart on Bitcoin is still trying to shape up a weekly high or low, but it's just chopping around sideways. And again, the best case for the bulls, in my opinion, is for continued weakness here. Because if we start seeing, if we're going to set a weekly high or low, in my opinion, it's likely going to be because the entire crypto space is dropping and altcoins are dropping harder than Bitcoin. Doesn't mean it has to be that way, but again, if we're talking probabilities, the most common scenario for the dominance chart going up in the last 2 years has been when crypto is dropping. So keeping an eye for a weekly higher low to try and form here, but ideally we want to see further downside. We want this bounce to have altcoins leading the way up and showing more strength than Bitcoin on this bounce. Ethereum. So Ethereum on the 4-hour got the bull break as well. And on the hourly chart, bulls really want this to be an hourly bull flag to see continuation, because right now it's a potential daily bear flag. We need more space. We need more follow through. And again, a major factor here is if the bounce that's already underway for crypto, if we then see SPY and QQQ get their daily bounce going, that's only going to help the crypto bulls get some follow through. But I'm still in my position that I talked about in the last video. And again, my position was scaling into 2 entries out of 4 possible on the break of 3,000, selling half of that position in the low 3,000s, having a break even now at about 29.60, right above our low. And I'm just going to hold it and either stop out or nail the weekly higher low. It's the only 2 things that are going to happen. I will stop out with a tiny loss, or I will nail the weekly higher low and be in a position that is up 8 to 10%. And potentially, if bulls get their way, best case for the bulls would be a confirmed continuation move on the weekly that would then make that a very profitable position. But that's what I'm doing. It's all or nothing for that position for me. It's either a weekly high or low, or I will stop out. And now it's just patient. And so I'll keep an eye out for other trades that I like, but not doing anything with regards to that trade. I don't have to think. I don't have to think about that trade one more time from here. The only thought that I will have to have is, where do I want to take profit if it is indeed our weekly high or low? So hourly needs this bull flag to confirm for some conviction and follow through, but we got to be keeping an eye out for a daily lower high, anything under 33.10, and EMA 12 resistance. Must see follow through to shape up a daily trend change back to the bulls. What's the 12-hour doing? I don't know. I haven't looked. You can keep an eye on the 12-hour. I'm just going to stick with the daily personally. Sometimes I find more details on the 12-hour time frames, and it's worthwhile. Like on Bitcoin, I can see that we did reject from 12-hour EMA 12, and it's now coming back into play. So it is worth keeping an eye on. One thing to be cautious of for an Ethereum bull is ETH BTC being a head and shoulders on the 12-hour. Generally, I would say that this bounce retracement size, double bottom, this bounce retracement makes that head and shoulders a lot less likely, because we have to see a much more significant drop to break that support level. If you're going to be a likely head and shoulders, you want to see a bounce retracement of 382 or 50% and then roll over. It's still possible to be a head and shoulders. It's just less likely for me because this bounce retracement was 90%. So what the bulls are hoping for is a 12-hour high or low and then a bull break into continuation. But I'm watching this chart very closely, and a break of 7.3 will definitely be a red flag for Ethereum bulls, because we will be weakening versus Bitcoin, and weekly consolidation will then be underway. So keeping a close eye on the 12-hour chart for ETH BTC. Litecoin. So I've been talking about Litecoin being a lead bear, and because we held this weekly support, it's on pause as being a lead bear. It's still weak. The bulls still have tons of proving to do, but it's a hold of weekly support that's enough for me to say, okay, I'm not going to look to have Litecoin bearish position be my hedge in the cryptocurrency space. So we might roll over and break that level, but it's just enough to pause and say, okay, I see you holding support. At one point today, Litecoin was at the top of my list. It still is. So that doesn't happen often. Just enough for us to say, all right, let's see if the Litecoin bulls can prove anything to us. If not, we'll be right back into shorting it as a lead bear. But again, that hold of weekly support means let's see what the bulls can do. Not enough for me to be interested in any bull positions, but if I were actively shorting Litecoin over the past few weeks, I would pause on doing that. Binance hasn't been getting much attention, but it's getting my attention because of the BTC pairing. This is the monthly time frame. Our monthly high or low is now set inside bar bull break. The all-time high is not far away. So keep an eye on Binance. And on the 4-hour time frame, we can see, now let's go to the daily. So daily time frame, bull flag confirmed. We're pulling back right now, but it's enough of a move recently to keep my eye on it. Binance, USDT, BNB USDT, look at this weekly. That looks more like a weekly higher low is forming than many crypto names are giving us. Long lower wick, bullish reversal, doji at the moment. We'll see if it ends up being a hammer or what. But pay attention to Binance trying to negate a monthly bear flag, and another leg up confirming a weekly higher low and higher high would go a long way in negating a potential monthly bear flag. Because at that point, the monthly bounce retracement size, and again, all this stuff, if you're watching this and you don't know what I'm talking about, retracement size, we've got all these videos on our YouTube. So we got a whole video about fib retracements for clarity. So what I would be doing if I'm newer, I would be writing down everything that I'm saying that I don't understand and saying, okay, fibs, I need to watch that video. You can write a whole roadmap of places that you can start. I'm going to go down a rabbit hole. When I was starting technical analysis, say, okay, RSI, I need to learn about RSI. I'm going to spend the next 2 days fully focusing on RSI and reading everything I can about it and looking at examples. All right, now I'm on to fibs. All right, now I'm on to Ichi clouds. They don't really like Ichi clouds. I'm not going to spend too much time on that. I'm going to go check out what the MACD is. And it was just one topic at a time, an individual rabbit hole at a time, and very disciplined and focused studying of that topic until I feel I have a firm enough grasp of that topic to then move on to something else. So fib retracement right now is a potential monthly bear flag, but if the weekly higher low and higher high shapes up, then we'll be pushing towards the 50% retracement. And if the crypto bulls give us one more leg up, that's when we're going to start looking for the potential equilibrium to be the worst case scenario, whereas right now, the bear flag is the worst case scenario for bulls. But Binance getting that attention. Big 2-day bounce. So Binance has the space for a daily higher low to form next consolidation. The bounce that we saw from that low at this point is 7.8%, whereas Bitcoin is much less than that. Well, not much less. 2% less. But again, Binance has more space. And we'll watch to see how long can BNB BTC keep the daily uptrend going. 4 hours stair step had a bear break there. How long can we keep the daily uptrend going as we keep an eye on the all-time high? If this were going to break bull and Binance were to see a significant move, we would have to see the dominance chart breaking this many-month sideways range bearish. Luna. So we've been talking about Luna losing the spotlight. Daily inside bar. We can see a bounce here, and I'm looking for a bounce, but I do believe that bears are going to be waiting for daily lower highs because we have a ton of space for that lower high to form. And look at where we can bounce to and still be a bear flag. So often EMA 12 will align with 382 retracement. And so there's often times where I don't have to measure fibs on the chart. I just use my EMAs. And I can say that if daily EMA 12 is resistance on Luna on the daily time frame, it's a possible bear flag. So sideways tight range, if it breaks bull, we're going to look for the Luna BTC inside bars to break bull as well. And the best case scenario for a bear is bounces in both pairings, confirming a downtrend, with the BTC pairing breaking the weekly uptrend, and the USDT pairing seeing another leg down. So, personally, I can be bullish the crypto space. I can be bullish looking for the weekly higher low on Ethereum, but I always want to be looking on both sides. Again, put on my bear glasses and say, okay, well, if I'm a bear, what do I want to see? And I just know that Luna, unless something significantly changes, Luna scouting a daily lower high is something a bear is going to be looking for. And then potentially watching for monthly consolidation. But one thing at a time. Got to get the daily bounce going, and then we scout the daily lower high. Sol BTC, you want to check in here because we had a falling wedge break bull, but we lacked follow through. We're just grinding. So previous resistance, and now we're just grinding it as support. Got to shape up the 12-hour trend change here. If Sol BTC is going to prove anything. Again, we're looking for weekly higher lows on our three musketeers. Sol BTC is the USDT pairing. Still range bound. VET and ADA. Just checking in on them real quick. They still have proving to do. But it was Sol BTC standing out more than the other BTC pairings. So that gives me a little bit more attention on Sol to see if our weekly higher lows can shape up. All right, I'm reading the chat now. What do you want to look at? So again, the Sol BTC chart has to confirm a 12-hour trend change, have to form a 12-hour higher low here, and then break the high of yesterday. And that will be a pretty solid step towards a weekly higher low forming. ZIL. So bear daily downtrend is continuing on the BTC pairing. So we are going to look for a weekly higher low here, but there's no indication that it is forming. So just a slow bleed at this point. I don't know what the news was for that rocket ship, but we have given back more of this move than bulls want. That being said, there's so much space here. We know we're scouting a weekly higher low. And then we will be scouting a weekly lower high due to the size of this pullback. So near tightening daily range here, we're cautious of a weekly lower high on near. The BTC pairing failed to break resistance initially. And the US dollar pairing double topped. But, ooh, that's a head and shoulders. Got to be cautious here. Just want to compare. Again, whenever I'm looking, I haven't looked at this coin in a while, but whenever I look at a coin, I'm always looking at the US dollar pairing compared to the BTC pairing. And I can say that the BTC pairing is still showing relative strength, which is keeping bulls a bit comfortable. But if we lose the 12-hour higher lows on the BTC pairing, let's just go with the daily. If we lose the daily higher lows, that is a red flag that weekly consolidation is coming after that resistance rejection. So the most important level right now, let's go to US dollar pairings again. Gotta hold 1493. If you break 1493, it makes that double top rejection a lot more daunting as far as how much we pull back from that rejection. If bulls can keep the daily uptrend, then they keep within striking distance of that resistance. DOT, scouting a weekly higher low. This looks a lot like our bigger retracement size. I was going to say it looks a lot like the Three Musketeers. VET, ADA, and Sol. But it's the same thing right now as Bitcoin. We need another leg up. We need more follow through to create space for a daily trend change attempt because we're not going to set a weekly higher low without regaining the daily uptrend. So we need more follow through before we top out on this daily bounce. It's very similar to Bitcoin right now, trying to shape up an hourly bull flag. This is key on Bitcoin. We now have our support at 40.8. If we fail resistance and break 40.8, for me that's a little bit of a red flag. I'm watching the Sand BTC falling wedge. And the resistance is what matters more to me. There's another resistance rejection. Nah, not yet. We're a little bit higher. So as long as we're just floating around within this pattern, I don't care about sand. But It's all the BTC pairing. If the SAND BTC pairing gives me a reason to pay attention, I absolutely will. And I know at some point in the near future, well, I can't say near future, some point in the next few months, we're going to be looking at SAND giving us monthly higher lows, just like Sol did. But it's not yet. And I don't want my capital just sitting there because that's opportunity cost elsewhere. But I know that I'm just checking in on it once a day. Just check in. Okay, not much shaping up for the bulls. Bare minimum, we need a daily uptrend on the BTC pairing. That would get my attention. But for right now, nothing yet. But I know soon. And Mana BTC is the same. Just a slow bleed, slow fade. But watching the monthly EMA 12s for both of them. And it was Sol on the monthly, Sol BTC on the monthly that led to that nice bounce. How much emphasis would I put on the channel we're in on the Bitcoin daily? If we break 39.2, would I be bearish? Yes. I mean, that's got to be, if that's not our weekly high or low, the probability of a monthly bear flag increases significantly. This has to be our weekly high or low to not be a monthly bear flag for me. Which means we need to change the daily trend from here. Wherever we top out, higher low and higher high. What would indicate to me the cycle is over? A monthly downtrend would be, again, a huge red flag. Monthly uptrend is what has been keeping me looking for bull trades in crypto over the last, I mean, even all the way back here. So what's that? Almost a year. And if you are then in a monthly, weekly, daily downtrend, it means patience. And at that point, I would be looking to buy weekly oversold conditions, but you don't want to break 33 and confirm the monthly downtrend. How to escape the stop hunting wicks? So I always do a market stop. Or no, it's always a limit, but I put the limit way under. So if it triggers, my order is gonna fill. How do I trade on narrow ranges with small percentages? I don't. Because again, with crypto and with the fees, I need multiple percentage moves for a trade to be worthwhile for me. I'll trade 0.5% moves in the stock market all day because I can market buy in and out very aggressively for free. And there's a ton of liquidity. But smaller position sizes, more wiggle room. If I have $10,000 and I am risking 1% before I stop out, then I am risking $100. If that's as much as I want to take on the trade, but I want twice as much wiggle room, I can have a $5,000 position and have twice as much percentage wiggle room and still be risking the same dollar amount. Fluctuate your position size with your confidence in the trade setup and with the amount of risk you're willing to take. My position size in Bitcoin that I stopped out on, looking for the daily bull flag, was a larger position size than normal, and the stop was fairly close by from a swing trading perspective. But when I'm day trading, my position sizes are always larger. My day trade versus swing trade position sizes, I'll day trade 3 times as much as I'll swing trade. And that's because swing trade generally for me means stop loss is further away. Day trade, stop loss is closer, position size is larger. And if I'm bottom fishing right off of a level, then my position size can be very, very large. So it's all relative on where your stop loss is, how much risk there is, as to how large your position is going to be. You got it, Nico? Definitely, Cody. So Cody says, I suppose having capital in stocks for the ability to take trades there helps you sit on your hands in crypto. Without a doubt. I never feel an urge to trade when I shouldn't be, because there is always something to trade in the stock market. You've got leveraged ETFs. You've got sectors going up, sectors going down. Right now, we've got sectors in an uptrend on every single time frame, and we've got sectors in a downtrend on a ton of time frames. There's something for everybody. It's just imagine it's like if you like playing ping pong, crypto is a ping pong table in a basement, maybe 2 ping pong tables in a basement. And if you like sports, you're going to an arena that has 15 different sports you can play. It's just a giant playground versus a very small playground as far as the opportunity and the instruments. So again, I think every single crypto trader at some point wants to get into the stock market and get familiar with it. For periods of market cycles, I focus on stocks for a few months while crypto is choppy or tight or unclear or lacks volume and volatility. And then crypto starts gaining volatility and stocks are born. So I go over to crypto. That happens less and less because of the correlations we've been seeing. But there were periods from 2017 to 2021, 2020, where that's what I was constantly doing. Just 90% focus on stocks, 10 on crypto, 90% focus on crypto, 10% on stocks, just back and forth as the opportunity presents itself. A lot of Brazilians in the house. Thanks for tuning in. Do I have an exit strategy for my long-term no-touch positions? Massive euphoria, 6-figure Bitcoin. I will ride it to zero. The point of being no touch is there is not a fear environment on the planet that can get me to sell that position. There is a euphoria environment that can get me to scale out, absolutely. But there's not a fear environment. That position is zero. Matic. Prolonged daily downtrend. Trying for a monthly higher low. Worth keeping an eye out. Again, patience. These BTC pairings that are in these slow grind downs require so much patience, but their time comes. Again, the 3 Musketeers, slow grind forever, and their time came. So it's worth scouting Matic BTC for a monthly higher low in this nice big monthly equilibrium. And Matic USDT is definitely struggling because its BTC pairing is so weak, or in part because of. So I have to see the BTC pairing give me a reason to be bullish. So then I look at this chart and say, okay, what is something that Matic BTC has not done this entire time? This is the 2-day time frame. And I can say that in the last 2 months, we have not gotten over EMA 12. So if we get over EMA 12 on the 2-day time frame, I can say, okay, something's a bit different here. Maybe their monthly higher low is now shaping up. I'm going to pay more attention because something that has not happened in a prolonged period of time has now happened. It's the same thing for Litecoin. It's easy for me to not trade Litecoin because on the LTC BTC chart, as long as we keep setting weekly lower highs, which we have been doing for the last bunch of months, I have no interest. Break the weekly lower highs and I'll say, okay, this is something different for the first time in a year plus. And it's getting my attention. So find things on the chart. Find technicals that are first time in X period of time that is significant. We want to recognize shifting market conditions. So if something is happening for the first time in 6 months, that's an early indication of the potential of a shifting market environment. Am I thinking the weekly high or low is set on Bitcoin? I'm looking for it. I'm absolutely scouting it. But I need to see QQQ and SPY start daily. Really, what I need to see is I need to see the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 get over their CPI reaction high from yesterday. Because if you look at the NASDAQ, if we're over that level, let's just put our line there. If we're over that level, look at what the weekly would look like. A big, long lower wick and a bullish reversal candle. So that high CPI number is important to me. And it's still resistance. Tax software, get a CPA. I use Trader, what do I use? Crypto, cointracking.info, maybe. But I just use it to import all my data, spit out, an organized summary. And what I do, the way I do my taxes, and I'm not a professional, I track start of the year, day one, what is my account balance? And then at the end of the year, I take my account balance, I factor in any deposits or withdrawals, and I know what my account is up based on profit. I then put my data into that software. It spits out a report with 80,000 transactions. I send it over to my CPA. My CPA then tells me, what number did you get for my profit? And generally it's very close. And I say, okay, we're on the same page. And so it aligns. Why is that important? Because what he has, that data, is how I prove to the IRS, this is what I made. If they come knocking, that's my proof. My little notebook where I write down my numbers is not my proof. So I have to ensure that the data in the software matches my handwritten notebook. Waves, I don't like the fact that the news crushed it. I don't like looking for bounces when news is a factor. It leads to extremes, as you can obviously see. Places that we would expect to bounce, we didn't. RSI goes out the window when news is involved. And if to play bounces, RSI is one of my major tools, and it's now useless, I'm at a significant disadvantage. So, honestly, I personally just wouldn't have any interest. But if I did have interest, it's very clear that we've been in a 4-hour, we're struggling at 4-hour EMA resistance. So that has to change if we're going to go anywhere. But again, if you're going to pull back 70% over the course of 2 weeks, something's very wrong. There will eventually be a bottom found and some nice gains, 20% bounce, absolutely. But trying to find that bottom is real tricky. All right, I'm wrapping it up. Bitcoin's trying to test the high. NASDAQ is also up near the high of the day. Check out the Trader Pro free month trial. Why not? Worst case, you can click some buttons and then never look at it again. But I think you'll look at it again. TraderPro.com, code free trial, 1 month. Ideal is it makes you money and you keep using it from there because it keeps making you money. At this point, the trades that we're looking for, again, we talked about the 4-hour super stack. Bears are looking for hourly back burners to indicate overbought conditions, scouting a daily lower high. And at this point for bulls, I would be looking for maybe some abnormal volume. Nah. At this point for bulls, we got our 4-hour super stack, so we're not going to have any bounce signals in the near term. Bulls just need to keep uptrends going and create that space on the daily for the eventual daily trend change attempt. All right. Appreciate you all. Have a good rest of your day and do 3 good things. 1 for yourself, 1 for someone else, and 1 for an animal.